Dear children, this is Janet. We are learning about chemicals and chemical changes. In our last video, we studied about chemical symbols and atomicity. In this video, we are going to learn about chemical formulae. We studied in our last video that a chemical compound is a substance that is formed when two or more elements combine chemically. We know that elements are represented by chemical symbols. Like that, some chemical compounds can be represented by chemical formula. Let us understand with an example. Chemical formula of water is H2O. This shows that water is a chemical compound formed with a chemical combination of elements hydrogen and oxygen. So, the representation of a molecule of a compound using chemical symbols of its constituent elements is called chemical formula. Let me explain you in further simple terms. As different alphabets combine to form a word, right? For example, alphabets C, A, T form a word cat. Like that, different chemical symbols of different elements combine to form chemical formula of a chemical compound in a particular ratio. The chemical formula of water is H2O and the chemical formula of common salt is NaCl. Let us see the chemical formulae of some other compounds in the tabular column. You will be wondering how these chemical formulae have been written. To write the chemical formula of a compound, we should know the constituent elements, chemical symbols of the constituent elements, and valency of the elements. We know about chemical symbols. Then what valency is about? Let me explain you. To explain in detail, atom consists of three basic particles: protons, electrons, and neutrons. The center of the atom is called nucleus. It contains protons and neutrons. The outermost region of the atom are called electron shells and they contain electrons. The valency of an element is related to how many electrons are in the outer shell of its atom. I have told you atoms of an element combine together to form molecules of that element. And molecules of elements combine chemically to form chemical compounds. While forming compounds, atoms share their electrons according to their combining capacity. This you will learn in detail in higher classes. Now just you understand, in chemistry, the valence or valency of an element is a measure of its combining power with other atoms when it forms chemical compounds or molecules. In simple terms, the combining capacity of the atom of an element is called valency. The valency of some common elements are as in the picture. Next is writing a chemical formula. Writing a chemical formula involves some steps. Elements combine chemically to form chemical compounds. This we know. There are many steps in writing the chemical formula. The first step is write down the symbols of constituent elements. Then write down the valencies of the elements. Then cross over the valencies and write them as subscript. If the valency is divisible by a common number, then divide and simplify the formula. Now let us first see how to write chemical formula of water. What are the constituent elements here? Hydrogen and oxygen. So, the first step is writing the chemical symbol of the elements. So, hydrogen is written as H and oxygen as O. Then, the second step is writing down the valencies of the elements. Valency of hydrogen is 1 and the valency of oxygen is 2. The third step is crossing over the valencies and write them as subscript. So, 2 should be written as subscript of H and 1 is the subscript of O. So, the chemical compound water is represented as H2O. The valencies are divisible by 1, So the chemical formula remains same as H2O. Next, let us see another example. Writing the formula of carbon dioxide. The first step is writing the chemical symbols of the constituent elements. Here the constituent elements are carbon and oxygen. So the chemical symbol of carbon is C and oxygen is O. Second step is writing the valencies of the elements. Here the valency of carbon is 4 and that of oxygen is 2. Third step is crossing over the valencies and writing them as subscript. So 2 is the subscript of carbon and 4 is written as the subscript of oxygen. So the compound is represented as C2O4. Here the valencies are easily divisible by 2. So the chemical formula is written as CO2. Children, watch the video one more time and understand the concept. Let us continue in our next video. Thank you.